Hey, good morning. It's Tim here at mine and Carolyn's house, sitting between the garage and the back porch here on the deck, and want to welcome you guys back. I hope you've been enjoying my Facebook posts. I've been trying to share with you every morning as the Lord speaks to me, and I hope you don't mind me having my shades on today. So the wind's kind of cool on me out here, and so I'm trying to uh, keep my eyes open. So again, I want to welcome you all back and thank you for being with me this morning. And I want to talk to you about a couple of things and continue on with my story, mine and Carolyn's love story. And I've always talk about love and how important love is and how essential it is, and it is the essential thing, and it is the principal thing to have is love in your life. Again, this time of year, as you can tell, my little tree right here has kind of dropped all its leaves and everything, and things are not as quite as bright as they were, during the summertime and everything else. But again, I want to welcome you to my house, and may I have a chance to talk to you a little bit today. I want to talk to you about three levels of a love relationship. And I'm going to be explaining that a little bit more on. And, I always like numbers. And then we're talking about the number three. I like to talk about numbers and how numbers are good and how numbers mean a lot of different things, So, sorry, I had to adjust it right there for a minute. But anyhow, I want to talk about, again, I want to talk to you about three levels of love relationships. And like I previously mentioned, I'll be expounding a little bit more of that on Facebook and talking about our relationship with the Lord. And there's three areas that I think is important to be able to talk about. And those three levels of love is with and for and in. With you, for you, and in you. And those are very essential to have a strong love life. And like I said, I'll explain that a little bit more and give you some biblical references as well on my Facebook post and things like that too, so you'll have a better understanding about that. I just want to kind of share with you how these three things, these three levels that worked in my life and mine and Carolyn's marriage and our love life and our family life, and also our relationship with you and the people that know us personally and people that are getting to know us through our videos and through my talks and things that I have with you, to understand those levels and again how essential and how important those are. To me, when I talk to you about things like that, I'm talking about building foundation and love. You build on a love foundation, and once you've got the right mix of those things and the right foundation of those things, you will have a strong love life, a strong marriage, a strong relationship, not only with your wife or your husband, but with your family, with your friends, and even with the world. Some people say, well, I don't really want to have a relationship with the world. I understand that too, and it's hard, but we always got to walk in love. You hear me talk about that all the time. And is it hard to walk in love? Not really, if you understand what love is about and how powerful it really is, and again how essential it really is for a healthy, sturdy, longevity, improved life when you have that true love walk. And like getting back to our story, I told you we had moved and we was living in the Beaumont, Texas area at the time. I was still working with the railroad, Southern Pacific Railroad, and we had met this older couple, and then we ended up buying their house. I think that's where my last video left off or stopped, and so I just want to continue on from there. Like I said, I always think it's important as well, and you'll hear me say that a lot of time. The most important thing, or some of the important things, or the important things is this and that, And there are a lot of important things, but the most important thing is to walk in love and have love in your life. And you'll find out as you begin to understand that and have more revelation about it, how true it really is, the things I've said to you, and you'll be able to see those to mature and develop in your life, and you'll be able to see those to come at full circle, and how empowering those words and those things that I talked to you about are. And because we know we all experience trauma in our life, dramatic things in our life, problems in our life, and things like that. But as I had expressed before, and I think in the last video, or second video in the last session, was that how important that failures are as well as successes. Because I found out that the failures or the mishaps that I have, and then knowing God would turn them around, became even stronger than the out and out success. But when you realize how those things work, then your life will be a concession, or will be a progression of successes all through life. Now, will you hit a snag now and then? Will you run into a problem now and then? Yeah, you will. But you'll be able to overcome it and be able to win and make a success out of that failure. So don't let those things haunt you the rest of your life, the failures, mistakes you have made, even in failed marriages, failed businesses, failed relationships. Those can all be restored, and as those things are restored, they become stronger and stronger. And then as life goes on, it will be harder for the enemy to take you off of your foundation, that foundation of love, because we know that we came out of love, and that's why the enemy and that's why the world hates it so much. The hate side of it and not the love side of it. It's because, first of all, they don't have a revelation of it, or they're not experiencing it, and they don't have it in their life. And I want that to be again a principal thing that you have in your life, and be able to have that kind of walk and that kind of relationship. So, like I said, there's three areas I want to talk to you about today, and that's the three levels of love relationship. And then one of them is with, and one of them is for, F-O-R, and the other one is in, I-N. With, W-I-T-H, and then for, F-O-R, and then I-N. And I'll be talking about those in my story, in our journey in life. And again, I'll repeat this again. I'll be talking more about it and give you some scriptures, how that concerns the love life, this love relationship that you have with God and God has with you. See, folks, you got to understand marriage is a perfect picture of your relationship with God, or how God wants to relate to you, how he wants to be, if I may use the word, married to you, to be part of you. And so that's why he created the institution of marriage, so we would have a better picture of understanding about why that is you have to have that kind of marriage, you have to have that kind of relationship, because that mimics and imitates the relationship God has with you. God is the constant side of that relationship. Like I had mentioned before, a lot of people's relationship and love life, or their love walk, is based on what other people do, and not on the principle or understanding that love is unconditional. God's love for us is unconditional. The only way that we seem like that not to have that type of love is us. We get away from it. But God's love is always there for us. And like I said, I want to get into scriptures with you on that today, but I'll be explaining that in my morning times when I do my Facebook to you, and I'll talk to you more about that. But getting on with my story, Carol and I had bought this house from this older couple. It was in the Hawthorne edition in Beaumont, Texas, and it was a little pristine little house, because it was an older couple that had it, and they spent all their lives, working for Sears, and I think that's where she worked, and he worked someplace else. So every kind of appliance they had, or every kind of fixture they had, came from Sears. And I don't know I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Sears. Sears was a big chain store, big apartment store. And not only that, it had its own catalog service, and Sears had been around for hundreds of years. I don't want to say hundreds of plus years. And so anyhow, everything was the top of the line in this little house. It wasn't a real big house, compared to homes nowadays. I think overall it was only about 1,200 square foot, something like that. But boy, it was just kind of perfect for Carolyn and Thaxton and I, as our family was growing and maturing and in life and in our relationship with each other. And so to bring in the elements I was talking to you about love and for, love with and love for and love in, those three levels, is that to understand that, you got to understand the definition of it. The word with, W-I-T-H, means accompanied by, will be a person or a thing. So it's important that, again, I guess that's my favorite word, huh? The importance of this is to understand that you have to have someone with you, and especially in marriage and stuff, that not only is with you but is for you and in you. And that's the same way God is. He's with you and for you and in you. And I think if you have a better understanding about that, Carolyn was accompanying me, and of course Thaxton, he was being baby, and we was accompanying him. We're taking care of him, and again, that relationship that we had together, we were complimenting, if I may say that, each other. That's something my wife always did. She was very complimentary about me, not just words of flatter and stuff like that, but she was always, I'm going to say it this way, she was always promoting me, and I did the same thing with Carolyn. And that's why our life was such a success, that we was with each other. We stood with each other, and we were partnered together. I'm standing with you, through these talks and things, and now I have become your partner, so to speak, in talking about love and getting you to understand what I'm trying to bring to you, or to speak to you in your life. I know sometimes my words may be feeble to express those true expressions and true understanding about that, but just give me time, and I'll get that to you, and you'll be able to have it and be able to enjoy it, and because first of all, not first of all, but with all, I always say to you, and this is what we have done as a family. We always love people, always love people. I don't care if they were stinkers. I don't care if they were this or they were that or just whatever. We always love people, because when you give out in something, then that's what you get back in something. And we always want to be loved by people. We want to be loved by each other. We want to be loved by you, our friends, and people that we talk to. So we give out what we want to receive. Remember, I talked to you a lot of times about giving, how important giving is, seeding in, the law of reciprocity. As you give out, as you love people, express love to them, and show love to them through your actions, not only just words, because sometimes words can be empty, but when you start to express it properly in your actions, then it becomes more dominant, and then becomes more real to them. And so, trying to express that to you, I'm doing my very best, and I know you will receive it, because the words that I speak to you are words from the Lord, words of not only the experimenting times or experiencing times that I had as the head of the household, as the head of this family, and now the patriarch of the Rivers family. It's that I wanted to get that across, and I wanted to fill that role in our family relationship, and our family understanding about things. So I know this is what has kept me all these years. It's kept me on course. That I was always on course? No, I've got off course just like anybody else. But I was smart enough to know, and had enough of God inside of me, that He got me back on course. And I love being on course. I love to be the plan, you know. You've heard this saying, you know, well, I love it when the plan comes together. Well, I love it when God's plan happens in my life. And you'll experience that too as I continue to talk to you. This little paper you see now and then that I have in my hand, I just kind of wrote down some definitions about, you know, talking about these three levels of love relationship. You know, and like I said, we enjoying our house. It was it wasn't a brick house. It was kind of a house with siding on it. You remember those old houses, and there's some that have that now. It wasn't a nice harder backer board. It was kind of a vinyl siding and stuff like that. Of course, it came from Sears, like everything else did. But it was a wonderful little place, a comfortable house, and it's something you must strive to do. And if I can relate to you to this properly, you got to have peace in your home. You got to have peace in your relationship. You say, well, Tim, how can I have peace in such a world of turmoil and problems and things that are happening now? You can have a peace if you put your mind on peace. This morning I talked about your will. I hope some of you guys picked that up on my Facebook post. I talked about the will, how important the will is, and how when you're determined in your will to do something, how you can accomplish things, and how and having that will. The word says, "Whosoever will," you know, whosoever will, whosoever uses their will. And I told a little story about a little boy that. He was a little boy. He was a boy that his dad told him they were going to go fishing that next morning, early that next morning. So he was so excited about it that night he put all his tackle box stuff together, you know, and he was getting ready to go fishing the next day. And he actually woke up earlier and had put his clothes on and got ready and had laid across his bed on top of the covers. And then when his dad called, he was jumping. He was ready, you know. He was willing to do what it took to get to what he wanted to do, you know. And so they went fishing. But if we look at the other side of the story about the will, you know, talking about the same boy that his dad came to him that night, instead of talking about fishing, said, "Well, I'm gonna wake you up in the morning real early. And we're going to work in the yard real early." Okay, little boy went to bed. Of course, his will, he didn't want to do that. So when the next morning, his dad had to call him a bunch of times before he finally got up. He was dragging around. He was foggy in his thought and everything. And you know what it was? His will was that he didn't want to do that. That wasn't what excited him. So that's probably a story that may help you to understand that, to know that as you make up your will to do something and you go forward to it, then you can accomplish that will or that situation or goal or things that you set your mind on. So your will is very, very, very important. And so by having that, you know, and speaking about that, I'm talking about when you have with someone or someone is with you. See, that's what you guys have experienced in life, that at one time you may have had someone with you. You may have had a husband, or you may have had a wife, or you may have had a friend or brother or sister that was with you, and they accompanied you on everything that you did. And see, that's something I'm trying to work through, and God is helping me to know that I don't have Carolyn physically with me anymore here on earth, but I have her, and I'll explain that too. I have her in me because of my memories and my love for her. Anyhow, I didn't want to kind of get off track there by saying those things, but when you have somebody with you, you have somebody to accompany you when you do things. And I know I've had some people call me here recently about the problems that some of their family members were going through, and some folks that were dealing with some illness and things. and they knew that if they would call me, that I would be with them in an agreement over the situation, and that when we were with each other, understand that's another level of a love relationship, is having that person with you can help you accomplish that, because you become stronger, because it's a knitted cord together that brings strength. So you know what, those the people had called me, and I was able to pray with them, and they knew that I was with them, and I knew that God was with us, and then we came in agreement, and then the width of that agreement will accomplish what our prayers went out to do. So, you know, we had this really nice little house, a little nice backyard. It was fenced in, and you know, Thaxton, he could get out there and play in the backyard and dig in the dirt, like hopefully all your boys or grandkids will be able to do. Get out there and get dirty a little bit, and get a little bit of bacteria in their body, and that makes them have a strong immune system, that makes them be healthier. And he was able to get back there and play, and had a nice fence, so you know, he wouldn't wander off. Of course, we always had a watchful eye on him as he was growing up, and even as he got older, and you know, and even now I have a pretty watchful eye over my son, even though he's a lot older. So, but because I'm with him, I'm with my son in a love relationship, not only just because he's my flesh and blood, because that's what God wants me to do with him. And when I oversee him and with him in that relationship, I companion with him, and he makes him stronger, and it makes me stronger too. When I am with you, I companion with you, and it makes you stronger. And we're a very forceful and very stern force to face if we're with each other. So, you know, like I said, we met our neighbors, and we had a good time visiting with them, and they had a couple little girls that was maybe Thaxton's age. Thaxton at that time was about 3 or 4 years old, I guess, at that time, and he was always getting into everything, you know. And you know, I always thought it was funny, you know, we'd always try to get things for our son, and you know, and he never really had a need or a want or whatever. We were able to you know, take care of his needs, and we know that God supplies all of our needs according to his riches in glory, and then in Christ Jesus, right? So in so many words, I'm not saying that we were Jesus, but we was able to supply our son's needs. He had no needs. But I always thought it was kind of funny in the sense that, you know, we'd buy him maybe a little tricycle or something, then something to ride, a little car to ride, or something that would come in a big sized box, and at times it seemed like he wanted to play more in that box than he did on the toys that we bought. I think that works a lot of times in a lot of things that you do in life. You know, maybe the things that it was packaged in is more appealing than maybe what was in the package, you know. So, but he enjoyed playing in the box. So every time we get boxes of something, we'd make a tunnel. I know you guys have done this too. We'd make a tunnel where he could crawl through, and he'd play like he's hiding in there, and he was camping inside the house, you know, even though we went camping outside and on the river or at the lake or whatever. So, but he enjoyed doing that. But see, when you understand that someone is with you, then you have such safety. You have such a safety feeling. You have such a secure feeling, a peaceful feeling. That's something that Carol and I experienced all our life. It's because we were with each other, and with so much love within inside of us for each other, that we companioned each other, that there was always peace at our home. I can hardly ever remember any time that we were cross at each other. You know, sometimes you'd say something, a snapping sound or a snap sound or something like that, or say something, and then we always wanted to come back. And even if we didn't say that, or we didn't mean it that way or whatever, we always came back and asked for forgiveness, because we didn't want anything to hurt our fellowship that we had with each other. Then in turn would hurt our relationship with each other. Okay, you getting the gist of what I'm saying? And so that's one of the levels of love, is having someone with you. And again, that's a safety thing to have. You know, the ladies that I know, and young girls and boys and things I know, I always tell them, said, be in numbers. You know, have somebody with you that can protect you, and that is there to accompany you, or to help, protect you. But if you know somebody is with you, then you're, I don't want to say you're not on defense, which are in a defense posture, but you're more apt to feel more free, and you have more peace in your life. Again, that's what I said that we experienced in our life, the freedom we had. And I'm going to tell you what, we even had that freedom when we were going through problems and obstacles and situations, and whatever you want to call it. And so we were able to have that type of life, and you can have that type of life too. When you're feeling like you're not, when you're feeling like you're alone or whatever, know that God is always with you. And you say, well, that's different. Yeah, it is different in a sense, but that is comforting to know that He is with you, and to know that I am with you, and my words of encouragement is with you too. So sometimes when you're feeling lonely, if you want somebody to talk to you and everything, just flip on one of my videos and listen to me jabber on, okay? Or if you want someone to talk to and encourage you, call me on the phone, text me, message me, or whatever you want to do, because I am with you. The Bible says that the greater one is inside of you, and there's more with you than there are those outside of you. We're talking about realms of angels. I talked about it on one of my Facebook posts about how to understand that you have angels, you have a heavenly host that are around you. If you're an heir of salvation, and even if you're not an heir of salvation, God has angels that are around you. But if you are an heir of salvation, and you say, well, how did I become an heir of salvation, Tim? When you ask Jesus to come into your heart, and you say to Him that I need you, Jesus, to come in my heart and be my Lord and Savior, instantly you're an heir of salvation. And you know what heirs are, right? I mean, what does the word mean? I mean, you're entitled to the fortune, to the family jewels, the family fortune, the family treasures. You're entitled to that. And so the heirs of salvation now, that it says in Hebrews 1:14, it says in there that He sends those messengers that are going to be with you, and you being the heir of salvation, and it's going to help you. They'll accompany you, and you'll be able to accomplish many things because you have angels around you. And see, that's just the first level that I'm talking about. Is with having something with you. Most people are sometimes I say most people, a lot of people, or maybe the majority of people, don't have that feeling of having someone with them, or something with them, or something secure within them, with them. And so when they do that, they walk in so much fear, and then when your will is not understanding that I have somebody with me that cares about me, that loves me. If you have nobody that tells you to love you, just listen to me I say, Tim here loves you, that I'm with you. And then when you do that, and when you understand that, then you'll make right choices. That's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to throw your game off. He wants to get in your head. He wants you to think, well, I'm by myself, nobody cares, nobody loves me, nobody wants me. My life has been bad, and I've had problems, and maybe you have an addiction, maybe you're going through something, maybe you're going through some really terrible things, and I won't voice them out, but that there are a lot of terrible things in the world, and your mind tries to trap you with those thoughts and make you feel alone, and that's why a lot of people commit suicide. That's why they become depressed, and they become rejected and pushed down, because they don't realize or have an understanding that they have somebody with them. So Carol and I knew we had each other with each other. We accompanied each other everywhere we went. Like I said, that's been something I've been trying to to work through is that I don't have Carolyn physically with me anymore here on earth. She's in my future. But I have God inside of me, and I have you with me, and I have my family, and I have my love and my memories of my wife as well. So I'm going to continue on my little story here. Getting kind of nippy out here, but I just want to say what Carolyn always said. We are eternal, and I will talk to you shortly, okay? Thank you.